Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in. Adjustments. That works. Okay. Welcome in, y'all. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Four Seasons channel. I'm your host, Four Seasons, and we are here. We are back. Um, Shout outs to the Four Seasons community. You guys always show up and show out, so I appreciate y'all so much. And shout outs to the new followers and the lurkers and all of those in between. I'm happy to have you guys here. What's up, Leo Ichi? What's up, Joker to Society? Thank y'all for coming in. I appreciate y'all so much. I really, really do. What's up, Love CPS NJ? I'm in a good space relaxing right now. Say that. We love a little relaxation. We love that. We love that. Um, Again, if this is your first time here, this is a space curated by us all to be open, honest, and vulnerable surrounding the topics of mental health, relationships, goal setting, goal achieving, self esteem, and accountability. So, welcome to the podcast, y'all. I'm happy to be here. Just some housework, I guess, to keep y'all guys in the loop, because usually I have my co-working streams on Saturday. This past weekend was a very, very eventful weekend for me. I probably should have let y'all know ahead of time that I wasn't going to stream because I thought I was. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I had time, but I didn't. I had a lot of stuff going on, but a lot of good things. A lot of good things. So nothing bad happened, but a lot of great things happened that I'm happy. I'm proud of. I accomplished stuff. I got stuff done. Even though I was not present here to get things done on stream with you guys, you know how we do. But it was a very eventful weekend, and honestly, this week in itself has been eventful. It's been a shift for me. It's been a change for me. A lot of things are changing in my life for the better, and I'm just here. I'm just present. I'm just letting God take control of everything, and I'm just in the passenger seat. So, but everything is working out. Things are working out. I'm happy to be present, to be here with you guys. But yes. So what we do here, what we first do is our check-in. So how are we feeling? What's on our minds right now? I pinned it in the chat, so we can go ahead and answer that. I'm doing good. I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired, and I'm tired because physically tired, because I'm doing a lot more things. I'm having a lot more on my plate than I usually do. Right. As I said, this past weekend was just full of events, and those events carry into this week, and are just going to be consistent in my life right now where I'm at. So I'm happy and I'm thankful for those. But when I tell y'all, my energy level is definitely not like it usually is throughout these past weeks with all these other responsibilities that I have now. But I'm thankful because I asked for these, I pray for these, and God provides what we pray for. So that's where I'm at. Uh, yeah, there's some things I want to get into, but let us ease into it as the podcast goes. We have our different subjects and our different outline for things. So let me just go into it before getting so excited and just, speaking all over the place. But overall, I'm feeling good. I'm thankful and grateful to be here, to be present with you guys, to see you guys in the chat chatting. It makes me, feel like I'm doing something, like I'm supposed to be here. So thank y'all for that, for being present, because y'all don't have to be here. Y'all could be anywhere else in the world but here, and you guys chose to be here. So thank y'all so much for that. Um, yeah. So with our first half of our check-in completed, um, you know, Joker to Society says, "I'm tired and don't want to go to get my B-dubs order." I understand that, bro. I understand that. Well, you better go get it because it's gonna be cold if it's just leaving there, and we don't like cold B-dubs, friend. That is not the move, my brother. Cold B-dubs, not at all. Um, but yes, let us get into our morning. Goodness, our check-in. Um, Joker decides says no choice. $94 for some chicken. Yeah, you better find some energy. Go ahead and get that. Shoot. Shoot. Or have Meese drive you. You know, he about close to driving age at this point. Yeah, have him start practicing driving you to beat ups to go pick it up. You just in the passenger seat. Well, actually, I know your nerves is probably bad, with so I don't suggest that, brother. I don't. Go ahead and go get that. Go get that. Go get that, because we need that chicken. We need that. But yes, let us move into our other half of our check-in, which is called the line dynamic. It is something that we curated here on this channel, which is a good representation of us to physically see, express where our mindset is at the moment, right? So let me pull it up. What is it? Game Changer? There we go. What's up, a wise dream? Yeah, $94. $94. Say that. Joker to the side says, I'm going. LMAO. I want to shout out my grandpa. He turns 107 Tuesday. Party tomorrow. Side note. Okay, okay. Happy birthday. That's a blessing. 107. My goodness. The stories that man probably has. Shoot, I'm learning more and more that people who we consider our elders, we should just listen to them and let them speak and give us knowledge, because they have wisdom in history. So history doesn't repeat itself. We should get knowledge from our elders so we can move in the right direction. So big shout outs. Yeah, like a wise dream said, congrats on the 107. That's a blessing. That's something you don't see regularly. So shout outs to him. Congratulations to him, because that is nothing but a blessing in God's grace. Um, but yes, so let's get into the line dynamic. So like I said, what this is a way to for us to express and articulate where we're at mentally, where our mindset looks like in the moment, right? So I'm going to start from the top down with an explanation of each stage, right? So starting with the top, being above. And as we can see by these emojis, the smiling, the happy, the ecstatic emojis, being above the line means we're in a good mindset. We're in a good headspace. We're operating in a functional area, right? If you will. And so when I'm above the line, what I like to do is I like to, if I have the capacity to, so that's the key thing. If we have the capacity, I love to give some of that above the line energy that I have to those who may not be above the line, right? So those who may be on the line or even below, right? I feel like if you have the capacity to spread good and give good out, why not? Why not do it? It's not going to hurt us. It's not going to kill us. Why not spread positivity and kindness around when we can, when we have the capacity to, right? So that is what I believe being above the line is when you're operating on all cylinders, things are well, you're in a good mindset and you can perform functionally, right? So that is above the line. Our second tier, which is smack dab in the middle, is being on the line. And that just means that things are okay. As the emojis represent on the line, you're just okay. There's nothing great happening and there's nothing horrific happening, right? It is a moment, it is a space where we can just be content being okay. And I'm realizing, being okay is okay. We don't always have to be functioning above or below the line. Sometimes I'm realizing a lot of people in this day and age operate with just being on the line. It just means that you're okay, you're sustaining, you're here and you're present. And sometimes that's all we really can muster up to give in some spaces, is just to be present. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but it's reality. Just sometimes we just here. um Last but definitely not least is our final tier, which is the third tier, which is being below the line. And as the emojis represent, the anger, the sadness, the shocked, the disgust, that is what being below the line for me, and in this line dynamic expresses. It's like we're not in a good headspace. We're not in a good place to be. Things may not be going well. We may not be able to see the positive or look through whatever's happening in the moment to see the bright side ahead of us, because it's all temporary. All these feelings are temporary. They fluctuate, and sometimes they fluctuate multiple times throughout the day. I've experienced all of these tiers, up, down, and back around, multiple times throughout certain days. That's just how life is. But being below the line, specifically for me, again, I'm just talking for myself and how I operate. Whenever I am below the line, if my energy, if my mood is, if my mindset is not the best, if I know that if I do interact with other people, it may be filled with those emotions that I'm dealing with. And, you know, where I'm at in my life, I don't want anything that I'm going through negatively to negatively affect those that I care about or those that are close to me, right? And so when I'm below the line or I feel like I may be what I say bleeding onto other people with whatever I'm going through, I tend to isolate. That is something I do. And I don't isolate just to be in my feelings and just, harbor everything. I turn to God, I isolate and I talk to God. I give the feelings, the emotions, the things that I'm going through, the things that are going through my mind. I give it to God and I let him handle it because I know that I can't control everything. That's just not what we were put on this earth to do, to control everything. It's just not in our capabilities. But I know God will work anything that I'm going through out. And so when I am so far below the line and I feel like I'm bleeding onto other people, like I said, I isolate and I just talk to God and I let him lead me in my decision making. Sometimes, I isolate for a week. Sometimes I isolate for a few hours. Whatever it is that whatever emotion or feeling that I'm going through, knowing that it's temporary, I know I don't want to put those temporary feelings onto people close to me and have a permanent outcome based off of temporary feelings, right? And so, yeah, I isolate and I give it to God. And then once I'm in a space where I'm able to articulate and move in a space that I'm not bleeding onto other people, I'm able to healthily get out my emotions and share whatever I'm going through with people. Then I reach out to my support system, right? And my support system could look vastly different from your support system, but my support system consists of my family, my friends, professional help, so therapists, life coaching. That's what I do. And last but definitely not least, my church family, my spiritual leaders, and God. And when I'm at a place where I'm able to reach into my support group, I grab at every single branch that I can because I know that something is going to give. Something from all of those support systems is going to give me the support that I need, right? It's going to push me closer from being below the line to closer to being on the line, or even shooting me even past being on the line, straight up to being above the line, right? That is what I'm realizing in my adult age now is having a good support system in your corner is very vital. And having multiple support, well, it's a support system, so it's multiple channels of support, right? And so I don't just give everything to one person. I don't just vent to one person. I don't just seek guidance or counsel from one person or one part of that support system. I grasp at all of it because sometimes we can trauma dump on people and they just can't take it. They don't have the ability to absorb all of what we're giving, right? And so because of that, I know that I can go to other people, other platforms that are going to allow me to have that support to give enough, just enough that I need to for them to understand where I'm coming from, how I'm feeling, and just move in a positive mindset, right? So, with the explanation out of the way of all the tiers of the line dynamic, my question to you all is where are you guys at on the line? I'll give you guys a few moments to go ahead and articulate, type in the chat. Give me your thoughts, and we can share it here momentarily. Be right back. All right, we are back. We are back. Let me catch up on some of the chat. What's up, One Trick Luna? Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you for being here. I do. I do. Are you enjoying the season 7.5 so far? I think I played about like 4 matches. We'll talk later on that. But yeah. Leo Ichi says, say multiple. Yes, multiple. Joker to Society, thank you. Of course, bro. You have a great time with your grandfather because 107 is a blessing. Again, happy birthday to him. A Wise Dream says, on the line, a little below fluctuation. I understand that, bro. I pray that whatever it is that has you on the line or below the line right now, I pray that it goes away immediately. And I'm happy and thankful that you're here, even when you are operating in that space, because I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. So hopefully, being here, being amongst the Four Seasons community that, you are a part of, hopefully you can get some energy or get some love or get something to boost you closer to being above the line. So that is my hope and prayer for you today. One Trick Luna says, once I get my food, I think I'll be on the line. Okay, okay. Yeah, food always puts us a little closer to that. It boosts whatever current mood we're in, at least for me, because I'm a foodie. Um, but yeah, get that food in your system, friend. For me, I am above the line. I'm not like extremely up above the line, but I'm definitely above the line today. Even giving my low energy today, y'all. So there's been a lot of newness happening in these past 2 weeks for me that I'm adjusting to. That was last week's word, adjustments, and that's so interesting how the word of the week that I have for my episodes later on that week into the next week, it's usually the theme of it. And so what I've been doing all last week into this week has been adjusting to so many different changes that are happening in my life. Good changes, definitely good changes, but changes nonetheless. My free time isn't as frequent as it was. Um, I'm doing a lot of balancing. I'm doing a lot of scheduling certain things for myself to make sure that things are how they should be for me, right? Or at least how God, I guess, wants me to be present for. So yeah, I'm adjusting. I'm doing a lot of adjustments, but I'm happy. I'm happy, and I'm operating above the line today, even with like my lack of energy. But we'll dive more into that as we get into the meat and potatoes of the topic tonight, right? So, with that said, our check in is complete. We have done our line dynamic, we've checked in with each other. Let us move into the topic at hand. So, first thoughts. What are your first thoughts when you see or hear the word alignment? So, I'm going to give you guys a few moments to go ahead and type that in the chat. Move this over here because I got to pull something up. But yes, what are your first thoughts when you see or hear the word alignment? Give you guys a few moments to write that out. All right, we are back. So first thoughts, y'all. What are the first things you think of when you hear or see the word alignment? So for me, I think of a car. That moment when your car starts drifting, when you don't need it to, and you just driving and it's just leaning to the right or leaning to the left. I think of an alignment because I need to get an alignment for that. I think of things being uniform. I'm very analytical. I'm very much, um, I guess, by the book. That's kind of what I am. My mom would consider me a goody two shoes, but I like things to have an order. I like things to have a purpose that I can understand, right? And so I think of alignment in that scope, right? Uh, I think those are the first thoughts for me. Those are the first thing that come to mind. A wise dream says everything in is in place. Yes, yes. Lean with it, rock with it, act. Man, that'd be the worst, bro. Like having a car that's out of alignment because you got to fight with it. Oh my goodness! And then fighting with a car while you driving is not the safest thing because the car want to go one way and you trying to go straight. A car's like, hey, what's over here? You know. But yeah, that's not the best. That's not the best, but it's real. That's real. That's what we have to do with when it comes to maintenance for our cars is make sure we get alignment, a proper alignment, so we're not messing up other people's cars as we driving straight, or at least attempting to. Leo Wichi says linear lines, parallel, in tune with. Say that. Say that. So it seems like we're all in the same vein, in the same page, in the same book, in the same chapter. about what alignment means to us, or at least the first things. What's up, Sir Tay Money? Thank you for the bits. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, so let's get into what the clear cut definition of alignment is. Shout outs to Merriam Webster and them niggas. The definition of alignment is the proper positioning or state of adjustment of parts. Another definition is an arrangement of groups or forces in relation to one another. So we got our first thoughts out the way. We know what the word of the week is, and we have the definition of the word of the week, right? So let's start to yapping. Let's start talking about alignment tonight. So what we do here when it comes to the words of the week, we talk about them in what I call, what I created, the 4 seasons of understanding, right? And so we talk about the word of the week from 4 vantage points. We talk about it from mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual standpoints, right? So season 1 is the season of mental. So we're going to talk about alignment in the mental aspect, in the mental capacity, right? So I think of being mentally in alignment with myself. That's what I think of in this season. And so I question, I always do a check-in with myself. Are the things that I'm thinking about, or things that are constantly on my mind, on the same path as what my goals are? That's the thing. And so I know we did at the top of the year, end of the year, top of the year, end of last year, we did vision boards, right? And those, and it's only April, and a lot of my vision boards, a lot of things on my vision boards are coming to fruition, right? And so I'm looking at them because I have them posted right here, right? And so I'm looking at them and I'm like, nigga, you doing something, you doing it. And so going back to alignment, are the things that are on my mind in alignment with my goals, are the things that I want to accomplish, right? And so I have to check in with myself, check in with my goals, where I'm at with my goals or aspirations, and if I'm still on track, if I'm still on path. I think about what it means to shift my mindset. I used to be very negative centered when it came to things I would think about. I would think about the worst outcome, or what would happen if the thing didn't go the way I planned it to. Or just things in that vein, right? And I'm noticing that shifting my mindset from the what could go wrong to what could go right has really, really paid off immensely for me. I don't get stuck in questioning the bad stuff anymore. I don't. It's just not something I do. Now, sometimes it happens, but it's nowhere near as consistent as it was before I really started to check in with myself, right? Um, I have been, and I believe I told you guys last week, I have been on a fast accountability challenge with my gaming group, and some of them are in the chat now, which I'm so thankful for. And we have been going strong for, what is this day? Let me check. I type it in our group chat every day, like what day it is that we're on and how many days we have left. Let me check. Day 19 out of 21, y'all. We are at the finish line when it comes to this. And sobriety is different in this day and age, and especially with where my mindset is. A lot of the things that I partook in, are things that I don't really desire anymore, right? I have worked on giving up on smoking. I haven't done a lot of smoking now. I've slipped sometimes, but that's compared to what I was doing and how frequent I was doing it. It's nowhere near as bad as it was, and I'm just thankful for that. I've been doing a lot of cooking my own meals. I've been doing a lot of fitness stuff, which I'll talk more into the next season of being physical. But it all started with my mind. It has all started with shifting my mind and putting certain things in place that I know are going to reinforce the path that I want to go down, right? Are going to push me and give me more willpower to continue on doing what I should be doing, what I want versus what I want to be doing, right? So yeah, that's where I'm at in alignment with my mental. I'm on the right track. I'm sticking to my goals. I'm having them, having them posted right here for me. Let me see if I can do this. Y'all see this? Yes, my goals are right here, so I see them whenever I'm on the computer right here. And so having them up right here is a constant reminder, especially when I want to fall off track. I'd be like, man, I want to go do this, or I want to, I crave something, and I'm looking at them like, ugh, these are my goals right in front of my face. Am I going to let myself down even when I have certain things in place to keep me on my path? And that's a choice. Sometimes I fall. I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. That's just not what we were designed to be. We are flawed humans. We make mistakes, but it's about getting back on that horse after we fall off. It's about being even more consistent and even more devoted to what we want for ourselves, and we go in regards to chasing our goals and to just having that constant for us, right? And so that is what I would say is for my alignment when it comes to being mental. Moving into season 2, which is the season of being physical. So we're going to talk about alignment in the stance of being physical. So physically aligning myself with my goals, right? Physically putting myself and doing the things that I want to do, right? That I want to achieve when it comes to my goals. So one of the biggest things for me this week, I have started going back to the gym. And when I tell y'all, day one, after being not, it's almost been a year since the last time I was in the gym, but day one, the soreness after is so annoying. And I know tomorrow the soreness is going to be even worse. But it felt really good for me to be back in the gym. I enjoy the gym environment. I don't really get a lot of, what is it, gym intimidation? Is that what they call it? Gym intimidation, or like feeling uncomfortable at the gym. And I think it's because ever since college, I was consistent with going to the gym. And so it's something that I'm used to. Even if I do fall off for a while, I do know how to get back on and get back into the swing of things. And so it just felt good for me. It felt good being in that atmosphere, being around people who are putting in the effort to improve their physical health, physical fitness. That was a motivator for me to stay even longer than I did, which is another reason why I'm pretty more why I'm pretty much very much sore in this moment, because I was there for a moment. I was there for about an hour and a half, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs. I really much so am feeling it. But I'm thankful. It's a good soreness. It's like, okay, this is what I did to cause me to feel this way, and it's improving my health. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been doing. And then also adding into, like I was saying, the previous weeks, I do walk about 45 minutes for 3 days a week. And adding that to what adding me going back to the gym on top of me walking consistently, y'all, I just feel different. And I think that's honestly a big proponent as to why my energy is not as high as it usually is, because a nigga tired. Yeah, a nigga sore, and a nigga is feeling it. But I'm thankful. It's those good feelings, and even through the tiredness, even through the soreness, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be consistent, because that's where the hard work comes from. That's when the results happen, is when you show up when you don't want to. And being consistent with the podcast, being consistent with other things that I have going on, it's just another thing that I'm adding to my bucket that I'm just going to be consistent with. That's just where it's at. So yes, that is where I'm at when it comes to being in alignment physically with my goals, right? So moving on to season 3, that is the season of emotion. So we're going to talk about being in alignment with my emotions. So as I said to you guys before, when it came to the line dynamic, I regularly take time to isolate myself when I'm feeling high emotionally. When tensions are high, when my emotions are at their peak, I'm like, all right, let me isolate, let me chill out before, like I said, the temporary emotions that I'm feeling will turn into a permanent decision around those around me. And I don't want to ever make decisions off of temporary feelings. I mean, every feeling is temporary, but heightened temporary emotions. For that point, I'll say it that way. And it's been really good. It's been really good. I do a lot of talks with God, and the way my relationship with God is right now, I'm like, all right, let's talk, because you know what's going on, but I need to get it out. So let me get it out, and you lead me how I need to be led, right? And I get to a point, where I'm like, do I want to react with how I'm feeling right now? Because sometimes, we have to react in the moment for certain situations. And, I pray that sometimes that when those situations arise, that I'm able to make the right decision and not be so enamored with whatever my current emotional state is in that heightened state, right? So yeah, I asked myself, do I want to react with how I'm feeling right now if I have the option to, right? Or if I do have the option to not react in the moment, do I give myself some time to regulate, then make a decision to react afterwards, right? Um, we can't run away from our problems. Our problems are going to be there, but sometimes we have the ability to pause and think about the decisions that are the choices that are presented to us and how to maneuver those. And what I'm learning is that when I have the time to isolate and think about the situation, new options pop up for me to interact or use to interact in that situation. So the choices that may be in the front in that moment aren't always the only options. If you take some time to pause, to think, to regulate your emotions, other options and other choices will come to fruition. And that's what I'm learning. Like I said, giving God my emotions or, taking the time to discuss the situation with him is something that allows me to be in alignment with who I want to be, because I'm not quick to respond. I'm not quick to react. I'm not quick to anger. I'm more patient with myself. I'm more patient with others. That's something that I'm learning is not an easy thing to do, but it's something that I am doing in the moment. And so, ooh, excuse me. Last but definitely not least is season 4, which is the season of spirituality. And so we're going to talk about alignment in the vein of spirituality. Spiritually in alignment with God's word, right? And so as I was thinking more about this, as you guys know, I'm very active in my church. I'm working in my church, working in the ministry, and I'm really enjoying it. It's work, of course, so it's not always going to be easy, but I enjoy being and working with people who, one, prioritize God, prioritize Jesus Christ. That is big for me, because that's something that I'm doing. And so when you are practicing it and very new in it, like I am, submerging yourself around those who are doing it too helps me stay on track, helps me become more disciplined in following God's word, right? And so, like I said, as I was doing my research for this, I looked up a scripture, and it's Proverbs 3, 5 through 7. I'm going to type it in the chat for you. Bam. There we go. Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 7. And it reads, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding." Whew. "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil." And so this scripture really highlights what I do now. There's so many things that are going on in life right now in the world, in our country, that don't make a lick of sense at all. That don't make any that don't give ease of understanding for us, right? And Well, for me, I don't really watch the news like that. I get the information that I need, right? But I know people who would just watch CNN. Oh my goodness, CNN consistently, and just hear so much negativity, hear so much vitriol, hear so much evil, vile things that are happening, and that stuff holds on to you. You know, that stuff sticks with you. And so where I'm at right now, if I don't need to know it, I'm not going to know it. You know, God's going to direct me to know what I need to know and move how I need to move. So if it doesn't make sense to me, I give it to God. I talk to God. You know, um, there are so many things that are happening right now that don't make sense to me right now. You know, in my life, but I give it to God for clarity. I give it for understanding so he can order my steps to move in the right direction with these things I'm not understanding, right? Or even just remove the things that I don't understand because sometimes they're not for me. They're not for us. Um yeah, yeah. That's something that I've been doing. Um Understanding also that the life I lived before finding God, I felt really hopeless. I'm not gonna lie. I did not have a sense of direction of where my life was going. I'm not gonna lie, I was just existing. I was coasting. I was just, I felt I was a shell, not gonna lie. Um where I'm at now is completely different. Just a moment of clarity and vulnerability and transparency for you guys. Um for me, it has officially been 1 year since some very monumental things happened in my life, right? One of the biggest things was a breakup that I had. And in that relationship, I was lied to, I was used, I was mistreated. And when the breakup happened, I don't know if it's like a form of Stockholm syndrome, but I tried to figure out what I did wrong more so than what that other person did wrong. You know, while it's clear as day, they were doing a lot wrong. They were doing a lot wrong, but I wasn't ready to let that go. I was ready to stick it out and figure it out. But God did not want that for me. God has done an amazing job at removing me from that situation without me really doing a lot of work to remove those feelings or those thoughts, those memories of that person, right? Um, when I tell you, y'all, there were moments where ah, there were moments where I wanted to put one in the air or put somebody in the air, where I had the opportunity to really lean into my feelings and lean into my rage and lean into my anger and get that out in a not so healthy way, right? But God saved me because if not, I probably wouldn't be here in more than one way, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, I would not be here. But God had other plans for me, right? And so, being a whole year later from that breakup and where my mindset was at, it was just so nasty and so unhealthy for me. I am I'm totally different person than who I was last year, right? Like I said, another big thing for me, celibacy. I have officially been celibate for over a year now at this point. Um, and that is a whole thing in itself, especially in our generation. Our generation is a hookup generation. I'm 35, and so dating and hooking up is honestly, unfortunately, it's a part of the dating life. And for me, I have not participated in that, and I haven't had I, I've had temptation present itself to me multiple times, but I never fell into it because I knew that it's not what God wants for me, and that's not really what I want for myself either. Um, I have a better understanding and a newfound appreciation of not only who I am but who I'm going to be, right? And I'm not gonna be out here just what the old people be saying, laying it low and spreading it wide. I ain't doing none of that. I don't need to. You know, I'm just more focused on preserving myself, preserving my spirit. Because when you out here, giving it to whoever, it's more than the sexual exchange. You're exchanging spirits. You're exchanging whatever is on them, right? And I don't need that. I'm cool with where I'm at, so I don't need any of that energy. So I am happy to announce again that I've been practicing celibacy for over a year now successfully. I'd say that. And last but definitely not least, what's up, Love CPS and J says, praise God for keeping you. Say that, because I was lost. But he's kept me here for a reason, And as I am, a year into, um, really walking in that path, I don't have a need to go back, so that's where I'm at. But again, the last thing that it's been a year for is me attending the church that I attend, right? Now, not being a member, but actually physically going. It's been a year, and every day that I go, every time I go, it's a whole different feeling. I feel closer to God. I feel closer to God's people. Um, and I'm walking a path that He wants me to. I don't question a lot of stuff. I'm not in a place where I overthink as much as I used to. God is definitely at the forefront of my decision making, and honestly, I think He is. I believe that He is blessing me for my discipline of being consistent with the things that, for the most part, were really hindering me. And so I'm just so thankful for that. Um, like I said, I don't overthink as much. Sometimes it comes and goes, but what I do quickly is, oh, hey, God, this don't make sense. Lead me. And then He gives me, a direction or sends me a sign to do nothing sometimes. Peace be still. Sometimes I don't make a decision on certain things, and it still works out, right? Where I'm at now, I walk with more peace and calmness than I did before. I don't get as riled up when things don't go my way anymore because it doesn't serve me. Like I said, I think there's so much power in how we react to certain situations that not having a reaction is a reaction in itself, and sometimes it's all you need to do is just not react. Let that situation or let that person or whatever have whatever they're having, and you do nothing and still move in a better, well, not say better, you still move for yourself in a better mindset, right? Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at. Shout outs to Leo Wichi and A Wise Dream and Love CPS. Thank y'all for being in the chat and supporting me. I really do appreciate y'all. You have no idea. But yes, that is the last part of the 4 seasons of understanding. So we'll now move into our wrap up, our closing of the podcast episode tonight. So just to recap, word of the week being alignment. We talked about it from the mental standpoint of being alignment. We talked about from the physical standpoint of being in alignment with what our goals physically. We talked about it emotionally, making sure that our emotions are in alignment with what we want to be, how we want to be, and who we currently are. And last but not least, being spiritually in alignment with God's word, right? And so what we do here now is a segment that I call Know For Sure. And so what it is I speak, or even you guys are free to say something that you know for sure from the beginning of this episode to where we're at now, to the end, right? So for me, I know for sure that where I'm at right now, there are things that may seem, I'm adjusting to certain things and putting certain things in alignment with myself. Some things are already in alignment, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. But I know that I can strengthen them. And I know that being consistent is one of the biggest parts in being in alignment with ourselves. We have to continue to do the things even when we don't want to do the things, being consistent is such a big part for the growth, for being in alignment with who we want to be, with our goals and our aspirations. So that's something that I know for sure. Now, Shameless plug. I am a life coach. I have a program called Through the Seasons with Four Seasons, which is a small 4 week coaching experience where it is designated for people who feel unseen, emotionally stuck, or in between chapters, and you just need somebody to be present with you through that season, right? Currently, it is free until the end of the month. So, what I'm saying is, if you are interested in being a part of this coaching experience, you have until April 30th to either DM me here on Twitch or send me a email at the email below, ivsznz@gmail.com. Again, that's ivsznz@gmail.com. If you are interested, like I said, the end of this month, there's going to be a price on it. But if you register or reach out before the end of this month, it is free. So again, if that is something you guys are interested in, go ahead and DM me here or send me an email so we can get you guys situated. Co-working streams. So I do stream my co-working stream on Saturdays, but this month has been very busy for me, specifically on the weekends with the church stuff. So this weekend I will not be streaming my co-working stream, just like I did not stream it last weekend. But the weekend after that, we're gonna come back in full force. And I'm also thinking of maybe moving it to sometime throughout the week. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. I can brainstorm ideas to see what days of the week work for you guys and work for me, so we can continue on with the co-working. Because when I tell y'all, me missing last week, my house was in utter chaos this week. Um, and it's still not in the best condition like it usually is when I do my co-working stream. But we're going to work on that. We're going to figure that out. So again, this week I won't have a co-working stream, and if I do have a co-working stream, it might be in the evening. So I might work with that. So let me know what you guys think um, of a different alternative when it comes to times that I'm not able to be here at the 11 a.m. co-working stream. So um, have that in mind. Also, Discord in the chat. Leah, what she says, that I'm actually aligned with my goals and in tune with my star player. I'm reaping the benefits of the hard work I'm putting in. Say that. Steps, no matter how small, are still steps. You got that right, bro. You got that. All right, y'all. The Discord is in the chat if you want to be a part of the Four Seasons community. It's free 99. You don't have to pay for anything, but you will have a community of people who are here who want to be a part of what we have going here, right? And in the Discord, you can find notifications when I go live, notifications when I upload onto YouTube, as well as any coaching that may be a part of that as well. So join the Discord so you can be notified of everything that is coming or everything that is Four Seasons centered. Last but not least, again, the YouTube is in the chat, so all the past episodes of the stream will be on the YouTube when they're there. I think I'm about 2 weeks behind of uploading, but again, that is part of my co-working stream, something that I did, so I'm going to have to adjust and get in alignment with these things because I got to be consistent. But we are at the end of the episode. Again, I want to thank the Four Seasons community for showing up and showing out like you always do, y'all. Y'all mean the world to me. Y'all really do. And I thank y'all for your support. Thank you to the followers. Thank you to the lurkers. Thank you to the subs and everyone in between. You guys mean so much to me. I will officially be back here next Thursday for the stream. There may be a co-working stream that pops up sometime between now and then. Don't hold me to it, but it is something that I really want to work on getting out to you guys. So with that being said, be good to yourselves and be good to everyone else, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.